Hello everyone, today I want to review the Gladiator NXT EVO Space Combat Grip series from VKB North America. VKB is a flight sim controller company that produces joysticks, throttles, rudder pedals, and mounts for flight simulation. I've been using this joystick for close to 2 years now, and I would like to talk about why it's become my favorite joystick for flight simulation. The Gladiator EVO grip requires the GNX base and your choice of a left or right standard grip for a total of $135. The model I will be reviewing is the standard right-hand grip. The stick and base both come in their own boxes. Before you can plug and play, some assembly is required to connect the stick to the base. The grips are interchangeable, allowing you to use different models without needing to purchase a new base each time. This also gives you access to the springs, so you can achieve a level of resistance most comfortable to you. You have the choice between 3 levels of spring tension with this stick: low, medium, and high. The medium springs come stock with the package. The other springs are provided and can be swapped at any time. VKB has produced a detailed video on how to set up your new joystick. I recommend watching their setup prior to and during your setup. To make it even easier, they've provided a QR code that will link you directly to the tutorial. To simplify what this process is, you will guide the stick's wire into the provided protective housing and remove the housing once the wire has safely made it into the base. This wire then plugs into the board and should have a little bit of slack. When you're finished under the hood, screw in the base plate and the stick can finally be secured with a screw at the base of the grip. The NXT has built-in calibration that was very easy to run. You hold the 3 F buttons on the top of the base. If you're scratching your head as to why this calibration mode won't turn on, it needs to be done shortly after it's plugged in. Unplugging the USB cable and plugging it back in, then hitting the 3 buttons, will let you enter the calibration mode. Run through the pitch, the roll, twist, and throttle, and the blue light will continue to blink until you press the red button on the top of the stick, which ends the calibration. The EVO joystick and base together measure 9.5 inches from the base to top, just under 6 inches of width, and 7.5 inches of depth. It also weighs 2 pounds. The stick and base use ABS plastic, with the tabletop base being made of metal. The GNX base uses USB, and the cable does disconnect from the base, which I prefer. Makes storing a little easier, and you're less likely to compromise the base, being the cable is not built into the unit. Next, you have 2 rotary encoders, and in between the rotary knobs, you have a throttle axis and 3 buttons on the top. Moving up to the joystick, here you have the rest for your hand, and it's a very comfortable support, seated with a rubber mesh. This piece can be removed if you have a bigger hand that needs to sit lower. The back side of the stick has cutouts for your fingers, and the plastic goes from a matte smooth to a rough feeling for further enhancement of the grip. Below the grip, there is a single button that's rather soft to push, and a slightly larger button above that which requires a firmer push. A red dual-action trigger with 2 points of contact, a single-action red button, 3 4-way hat switches that also push in. The last button, and one you may miss at first, is on the right back side of the stick. This button is identical to the one at the base of the stick. The EVO is built with 32-bit ARM controllers in the base and grip, which use contactless magnetoresistive sensors, also known as MARS sensors. These are similar to Hall effect sensors. Both use magnetic field detection that translates to movement in our simulators. The main difference is Hall effect sensors read the magnetic field perpendicular, and the MARS sensors read the field parallel. For my research, the MARS sensors are known to be a little more sensitive and extends the playing field with response tuning. It's important to keep in mind this stick has a range of 20 degrees in each direction. Many desktop joysticks use this 20 by 20 range. Some aircraft actually use more range than 20, to upwards of 30 degrees. An A320, for example, has 20 to 25 degrees nose up range and 16 to 17 down. Because each aircraft has a different range, 20 by 20 is a good medium that fits many situations. I think a lot of consideration went into the ergonomics of this grip, not something incredibly important if you're briefly hand-flying airliners during takeoff and landing, but very crucial when using aircraft that require a lot of hand-flying or abrupt maneuvers for long periods of time. I would spend about 2 to 2.5 hours in one sitting to explore cities, bring troops into battle. I never experienced any discomfort in my hand, easily the most comfortable joystick I've ever used. The medium springs are a perfect amount of tension for me, and I never felt that I needed to hold or mount the joystick to the desk. It's perfectly balanced and stays flat. One of the most useful and unique features of the EVO were the rotary switches. These were nice to have when operating the Cessna 172. The knobs are not too fast or slow when scrolling. I was able to use one for the mixture, and that was really nice to have for leaning during the engine start phase. Even better, you can also map these to heading, speed, and altitude bugs. Even the radios. If it turns like a knob, these switches can control it. In a perfect world, I would like this stick to be made of metal, but that's not a valid dislike for a stick in this price range. Plus, their ABS work is really top notch as you can get for using that material. It's tough to find anything I personally disliked about this stick, and I really tried. For $135, I feel this price falls right in line with what you're getting in this package. A comfortable and capable stick that can handle anything you decide to fly. All the better if you're already a combat sim pilot to utilize all the buttons at hand, but if not, the precision and comfort of this stick alone are nice for even the simplest of stick aircraft. Or maybe you feel like combat flight simulation is something you want to try one day. This stick will cover you for any type of flight simulation you want to partake in now or in the future. If you don't have a joystick yet, this is certainly one I would consider.